Good. It is indeed somewhat good. This is your host, Crystal Mockery Spawn, on this afternoon edition of Fire for Liberty. There's a lot of stuff that is going on, and ultimately, it, one, of course, it's important that we understand that we are in a very important acceleration of the Golden Age and this Age of Enlightenment, being aware of this Renaissance and their responsibility, which is only increasing. It doesn't decrease, it only increases. We do have a responsibility to this planet, and yes, there has been a lot of progress and a lot of change and a lot of developments and a lot of anchorings and a lot of initiatives and a lot of beliefs and directions and integrity fulfilling and honor in embodying sort of presences that are evident in what we do, and what we create, and what we manifest as light beings, and it's just in general in this age of the Golden Age. And there's more responsibility now that needs to be done. What does that mean? We have a lot. We have to understand and undertake the responsibility of really going into the nitty gritty of exactly the type of information that we need to know of what's going on this planet. Exactly the type of history that we do need to know, which we can mention nonchalantly because that's just a function of how we do things. Recognize that this all these relationships they don't lessen at all. They only strengthen. What I mean by that is the responsibility, especially of light, holders, light warriors, beings of light, creative beings, and crystal children beings, and of course just the ability to continue to, for example, anchor the higher dimensional abilities in multidimensionality, which you have. It is very, very, very important that we continue to do that and we accelerate it because we must, not only because we are entering in a higher consciousness, there's more cosmic rays that we're going into this part of the galaxy, and the galactic central sun is beaming. But we really, 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 really need to ramp up our light work and light ability, light powers, because for many reasons. Just one, because it feels good. Two, because anchoring light dimensions and realities is, of course, a very positive thing. Three, jumping timelines is incredibly important. Just because that's what cosmic rays do. It's cosmic, right? COSMIC. I feel like I needed to reiterate that for some reason. I really shouldn't have to, but anyway, that's what cosmic rays mean. That's why we're entering that phase. That's ultimately why So, our responsibility is well beyond just being able to take care of the planet, and that's just kind of a neat thing. And here's the thing that's also dealing with how we understand ourselves, because for one, our light bodies are just ability to use light, and there's many different ways I can explain it in a very, very simple way. And and this is huge. This is so epic, and this is so spectacular. This is very exciting, and this is just going to be a sort of tool that can be used. So this tool is light Mandela, but also just the ability of the body to basically be like, and that's what's very interesting about consciousness, is that you pull that towards you. For example, I knew about the types of frequencies that affect light and that affect the human body and affect emotions and all that. It's all light. It's all light codes, because that's how our nervous system works. That's how our higher dimensional bodies work. It's science, it's physics. That's why our bodies are shaped the way they are. That's why we can understand the physical in the way that we understand the physical. And we can combine that with, just the basic understanding of our DNA that creates photons, that allows photons to create a healing coherence, which is known as entrainment, which is described, the light Mandela described as. And notice how I'm hitting my knee when I'm doing this. And the importance of the fact of the matter that we can manifest light. And that's very, very basic. We can manifest light, and that we are light beings. But energy does come through us. Energy, Light energy does come through us because our multidimensionality does that. It's so simple, and it's been we're incredibly complex, yes, but when it comes to creating light, okay, so one things that can help focus it. One is crystals. You can just charge the crystal. That's what a light. Human beings can do that themselves. Human beings, and I say are, and bear with me when I explain this terminology, because there is no such thing as time, and here's why. Because we are, and we can be able to charge our own crystals with our own bodies. Yes, we can use other tools such as light mandalas, such as just energy charging tools that fills, for example, charges and charges crystals with light. All that stuff, that's possible. That's healing. Okay, that's what works. Not all this any other stuff. It doesn't work. Okay, it just doesn't work. Everything can be cured. Very creations can be done just from the simple light body development movement. That is why. That's what makes everything. That's what everything's made out of. It's made out of light. That's why there's cosmic rays coming through the galactic central sun, just going throughout the entire galaxy. And that's why it's blasting out of stars. And that's why it's blasting out of, giant stars and superstars. That's why that energy exists. That's what creates things. That's what creates motion. That is light. It is light, and it's good. And it's good for you. Light is good for you. Now, everything can be healed. Everything can be healed, and everything can be changed. And why do I say that? Well, let's be more specific. Because knowing the fact of the matter that we are creator beings, for one, for two, that you can, for example, be which is kind of, this has already been known for a long time, but you could be an excellent writer, or an excellent poet, or an excellent singer, or an excellent dancer, or and I just use the word excellent just because I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible when I explain this, and because this is very exciting as well at the same time. Once again, trying to keep it very, very simple, very, very simple. Trust me, I of all beings am so good at this. Anyway, that's why I'm incarnated in the physics. Anyway, super stoked. So, healing can be done easily. Anything can be healed. Anything can be healed. Anything can be made. All right, anything can be made because it's made out of light. When we understand that simple concept, all physics follows, because that is the basis of everything. That's the foundation. All right, foundation of everything is light healing, light making. So obviously that just starts with one basic foundation. That's what I built upon. See the massive, it was just super energy, right? It was a super amount of high frequency energy that was in existence. And now we can build atop of that, but it was all made out of light. It was a light photon platform. We built upon that light photon platform, and then we ourselves become that physical anchor. Does that make sense? Let's put it this way. Light builds. Here's the thing. I mean, that's it makes sense to me because it does, it happens fast. It happens very, very fast. But that's why time, for one, moves very rapidly, very differently, for two. And for three, that's why, light beings win. And by what I mean by win, by victory, it's literal. And that's why I do a very important job of me anchoring light, for one. Or meaning why I'm just rooted, for example, why I'm a basis for transformation and for light transfiguration, because everything, I say it so many times, but everything changes. Here's what I mean. Light, higher frequency, all that light stuff. It comes straight through, and it's on the physical. Okay? I hope that makes sense. I mean, that's what's going on. I mean, I'm trying to make it really simple. Light goes through, and it just, it's in the physical. So, imagine light pouring in from your head, and into your head, and through your body, into your feet, into the earth. Now, that process is not light just moving. It's it's everything that's on you. Your entire DNA goes into the earth, and then what you're made of is light. And we say it's like a 7 year or seven, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 years, which is true. Um, I would say, well, it's 7 years, 7 years from now, and that's kind of all we need to go off of, which is kind of anyway, just once again how drowning is count time, but I already explained that. So the good thing is, of course, which you already know, always known, and always will believe and agree with, is victory is to the light. So why is that so? One thing is because, it is true. It's because, this oneness, for example, this awareness of oneness is just monumentally key. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. Is monumentally key so that anybody can understand it. It's monumental, and so that anybody can be, part of the light, which is, of course, the winning side. It always has been, always will be. I've always been, anyway. Always can be and always will be apparent, oneness. And so that consciousness ascension, understanding ability, multidimensionality, etc. Or even more simple, which actually does kind of, I guess, make sense. I like the multidimensionality terminology that I use, and mindset that I instill, or I think of, because, and I'll explain that in a little bit too. And the simpler version also to explain is non-physical versus physical, and then and all that stuff. So, and which is why, for example, it's easy just to quit the body, and I'll explain that in a little bit too. So multidimensionality, here's why I like it, because, for example, when you're in dream state or meditation state or just lucid dreaming or doing whatever, just daydreaming, even daydreaming works. Daydreaming is definitely one of the most powerful, I say, just because, anyway. I've been doing that for a heck of a long time, anyway. The memories are, once again, I also like the analogy of Superman. On that world, they were normal. On this world, he's super. You can constantly do that. And that's why Earth is such a great place. And I've said that so many times, but that is why Earth is the place to be. That's why Earth is the place to be. The place to be. Place to be is on Earth. I'm telling all these light beings that are coming in, just come here. This is the time to do it. And it's not even just about, once again, being, well, one, like incarnating into the physical. You can just, let go of your physical and then come back into your physical. Meaning, you can, and this is somewhat difficult, and it's not that difficult, because it's a fundamental aspect of light. But we're okay. So just with that analogy that I explained with tools, totally just explains the oneness of how there is no, for example, there is no division, there's no divide and conquer. Why? Because we can be anything we want to be instantaneously, basically. If anything you want to create manifest in your life, you can make it instantaneously. And that thought form can just be as simple as the word manifest. So I like that word manifest. 1, 2. And that's just to help click into the time. I'll help teach. I'll help explain this so that you could just. It's literally it is a fast, quick switch into instantaneous full light body activation, I guess is one term, which is kind of interesting because it's not just activation, but it's kind of reactivation. And there's stuff that happens when your mind. Anyway, I'm not going to explain that. I don't need to. That's already been known. I'm not going to explain the basics of the basics of the basics. I don't do that anymore. That's why I explain the tool, but I don't even need the tools anymore. Anyway. And we don't need tools because we're master. Anyway. So the major point, major point is the fact that you can, what can be considered quit the body. So, meaning instantaneous light. So for example, to go from physical to non-physical to physical, that remembering, or for example, that ability to, it's the ability to remember your dreams. That's as simple as it is. Because what you're doing, you're going to sleep, you're going to dreamland, and then you come back, or you not come back, you wake up, and then you go out and do your thing. Okay, that is very, and I'll explain with some of my dreams. I mean, like actual dreams when I sleep and then have dreams, REM, all that stuff, and then wake up. So, and it's still anyway. It's still dreams. I'm literally speaking multiple languages at once. So, anyway, so here we go. This. Jeez, I'm speaking so many languages. I'll just stick with English. Okay, this dream, this very, very simple dream. I like it. One of my favorite. Well, just I have all my dreams. Anyway, I don't really have nightmares, but anyway, this dream was specifically about. It was literally training. I know it was. It was so bizarre because one thing was for certain is I knew it. I mean, I didn't. I wasn't even paying attention, and that's the thing about language, light language. It doesn't age. So this body, this person, which makes sense because 9 years ago was what? 6, 4. Yeah, duh. Wow, that's so surreal, dude. So that makes sense. So 6 and 5. So 5 years ago was 18. So that's a good balance. That's probably just anyway. Math doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but it doesn't matter. I explained it was in a 9 anyway. So wise being, it wasn't necessarily. It was after the event actually occurred. So weird how I just did that, huh? Anyway, it was after the event of what happened in my dream occurred, which was, I was in a van. Okay, let's put it this way. Let's explain it this way. I was underwater. I was just underwater and just chilling, because I can breathe underwater. All my life, I haven't been able to breathe underwater. All my life. So there's a massive force. I mean, I would compare it to. I mean, I wanted to give like something that's realistic, but I want to give this sort of funky example. Like imagine King Kong holding a hammer that's his like a mallet, like a cooking mallet, that King Kong would use to cook, his size, and he's just swinging that hammer as hard as he can. Like this is not even freaking baseball. This isn't even Harry Dresden's baseball training where he has to stop the baseball that's literally getting thrown at him without using using only his mind. It was literally what it was. It was a force. It was a massive force, and I can tell how strong this force was. It was a massive force that was being directed straight at me and those I was trying to protect. And I don't try to protect. I just protect. It's easy. And those that I protect. First of all, that's a very key difference. Try to protecting versus just protecting, guys. That's protection. That's what it is. It's one word to understand it. So I'm really drawing this out. It's really, really cool. Anyway, so basically it was this force. It was basically just a massive fist, or just a massive creature, like a megalodon, was trying to ram its force into me, and trying to attack all that stuff. So what happened was and I could feel it, and I kind of felt it. When I felt it on my physical, I kind of feel it on my forehead, like kind of in the middle of my forehead. I was feeling it. And I stopped it. There's a barrier. It's invisible, but invisible barrier that I could stop that major impact. And and it was interesting because the more I could tell, the more it was hitting, the force was hitting onto my shield, the stronger my shield got, and instantaneously, the stronger my confidence built to hold that shield. So it was like every single force made all it did was boost my confidence. It it felt like it made me stronger. Like I felt like I was getting stronger. Like my ability to hold that force field was getting stronger. Um, but it didn't. The shield didn't weaken at all. I mean, it was a powerful force. It was just wailing on, trying to wail at me as fast as possible and hard as possible. Lots of velocity, and I still and that was Underwater Dream. It was kind of like a metropolis looking area. It was like a kind of like Independence Day, the newest one. It was kind of futuristic. It was kind of like a mix of New York with iRobot. With that kind of setting. Not really Wall-E like, but it was kind of like anyway. It was underwater. The water's really clean too, so I guess New York wasn't a good analogy. No offense. Actually, no. Take that offense. We need to clean up the waters. It would take 15 minutes to depollute the earth, or at least depollute the waters. Anyway, talk about tools. I've been mentioning that for a while. Anyway, that would be really fun too. Everybody will like that, especially the mermaids. We'll truly appreciate that. Well, we call them mermaids. They have other names anyway, but yeah, we'll call them mermaids. So, and of course all the other fish as well. Whales would love that very, very much, as well as dolphins. Anyway, and they swim in pods, but that's a surprise. It's not that huge of a surprise. Anyway, that was a really cool thing I could do, and just breathing underwater is cool itself. And that's the other thing. So I did that again. So it was like, and here's the thing. It was I knew it was a different planet. So here's what I know is going on. I have to go from, not have to, but I'm going from planet to planet, and this is kind of my own training thing that I did, and I also instruct this training and demonstrate, and it's not that I'm going backwards. It's actually kind of like, I'm doing what I'm being a master teacher and all that stuff. So I go I so there's a train derailing. All right, I had to. There's only one person in the train. I knew to get out, which is super wicked awesome. I did a bunch of ninja moves, which actually I can do in the physical like now, but I because I combined all the stuff that I know already, which is a sort of precognition. It's like a spider sense, I guess I'd call it. But it was. What a second. Anyway, it reminds me of something else I have to do. Something that doesn't exist. I commune with something that doesn't exist. Anyway, it does exist though, and so keep that in mind. What doesn't exist versus what does exist. That's a key part of manifestation, and key part of just what's it called? Dematerialization and materialization. That's anyway. I'm gonna get into something about when I was younger that literally just anyway. It drove my anyway. It's really cool. So that's also keep that in mind. Dematerialization and rematerialization, or just materialization, and also keep in mind the what doesn't exist and what does exist. So, and that also happens with. Okay, so I'll get into that in a bit. I go like super slow sometimes. I mean, on purpose, and well, anyway, I mean to be very respectful when I say that I go super slow. But anyway, in continuance, so the train was derailing. I went straight into the water. I was like, okay, I've done this before. I know how to be in that state where I can breathe underwater, but it's really dark. It's incredibly dark and murky. So I need to ignite myself. I need to light myself, which is a very interesting way to think about it. But so that's what I thought. I thought I had to shine, so I can see through the water. So I went in, and here's the interesting thing. I went into the water and nothing, and I still couldn't see. I was trying to shine my, and it wasn't working. So instead, all I did was change my eyes. I changed so my eyes would emit light, sort of thing, or my eyes would be able to take in more light, or my eyes would be able to see, not the way that eyes work, which is light reflection, all that stuff. I thought, I rethought the way that my eyes see. I rethink about what my eyes see. I see what I see. It's not like echolocation. It's not. Okay, it's like a combination of echolocation, infrasound, infrared, and kind of heat sensitive, and it was like night vision too. So, and there was some other visions in it which made it very interesting. It's almost like shark sharks can pick up electrical senses on their skin, or on their skin. I was able to do that with my eyes. Anyway, so I went and, you know, I was able to hold my breath, but holding my breath wasn't necessary, but I was able to hold my breath indefinitely, which actually I can do. And I also breathed under, or I was able to breathe underwater, but at the same time, it was like, I mean, I could still like swim. I was still swimming like it's water and stuff. But, I could hold my breath while breathing, and it was, easier than breathing. That's kind of all it was. It was like my body understood oxygen better, anyway. Other thing is, so I went through the whole train, and actually he it turned out the person I was trying to save, well, both legs were broken, but once again, actually I already explained this broadcast before, or I've explained this on the previous broadcast. Anyway, saved him, and he was okay. So let's go back to what I can do in the physical plane, materialization of real life. This got me in so much trouble, and it's, I mean, not like trouble, but it's like it's kind of a I don't know. It took me a while to acclimate to that it's a good thing, because it was something that was that's supposed to cause frustration and stuff. And usually when you discover that you have like an ability like that, you normally wouldn't be frustrated about it. You'd be excited, but it was only until recently, like this year. No, yeah, until this year, that I kind of was like okay with it and kind of at peace with it, and it still takes a while. So I can dematerialize things, and I know that when you, for example, which I'm pretty sure is exactly how invisibility works, but when you turn the mass of something into zero, then it has no mass, and it has no substance, meaning it turns invisible, meaning it goes into another dimension, it goes into another dimension. It's still there, but it's not there in the physical of what we see. So I was dematerializing glasses. One time specifically, I remember I was just meditating, and I didn't want to wear glasses because my eyes are closed. I don't need to wear glasses. So I just put them on my lap. After my meditation session was done, it's probably about 45 minutes. It felt like 6 minutes or 7 minutes, something like that. Excuse me, I got a incoming call.